Welcome on in to another edition of Smart Chat here on YouTube.com, and I hope all is well. And just want to give you some of my thoughts. Jim Cornette it was announced that Jim Cornette will be inducting the Rock and Roll Express into the Hall of Fame. And if you follow Jim Cornette on social media, he has a podcast, his Twitter. He has said it numerous of times. It will be a cold day in hell when if Jim Cornette is ever back in the WWE. And Jim Cornette is back in the WWE to an extent, as again he will be inducting the Rock and Roll Express. And this kind of just goes to show that, I would imagine that it was Triple H. That Triple H just mends fences. That's what he does. He's the NXT guy, the guy that runs NXT, and mends fences. If you would have thought that Jim Cornette back in the WWE, for a one-time thing it's just mind-blowing. Now, if you're familiar with Jim Cornette, probably a lot of the newer wrestling fans aren't. This guy has been with the WWE for many of years, whether it would be in the actual WWF, in their minor league systems, on and off. So he's been with the company for many of years. He's been in a lot of promotions, ROH, TNA, and the guy has a mouth on him. Does his mouth get him fired? Probably. He has no filter. And if you follow his podcasts, you know that he bashes WWE. Doesn't stop from bashing WWE. His bashing is mostly, TNA and Vince Russo, but, he does bash, Triple H, the WWE, plenty. And, but he's there. He's back in the WWE. And, listen, do I think Jim Cornette will have a filter on his mouth? I think he will. Okay, listen, it's the Rock and Roll Express. It's their night. He's not going to say anything. I don't think it's their night. He wouldn't put them in an uncomfortable situation, the Rock and Roll Express. He won't make the crowd kind of gasp in the audience. He wouldn't do that. He would not make it about himself. It's the Rock and Roll Express moment. And who knows? Maybe the Rock and Roll Express, they're inducted and they go, listen, Triple H, listen, if you could get Jim Cornette to induct us. And it makes sense because Jim Cornette is the one that's most familiar with them. They weren't in WWF for a long period of time. Only a short cup of coffee. So Jim Cornette is the guy that knows them the most, and it would really makes the most sense, and it will make the Rock and Roll Express kind of feel more comfortable on that night. So as much as Jim Cornette has said, I don't think he will say anything for that night to embarrass the Rock and Roll Express or make them feel uncomfortable with his mouth. That's not to say that the next night he won't go off on his podcast bashing the WWE. But I think he will definitely bite his tongue for this event, and I think it's pretty cool. There's really no one else, more familiar with the Rock and Roll Express than Jim Cornette. So I hope all is well, and I look forward to speaking to you soon.